Yo, yo, yo! What's up, baseball world? AWG back here with my main man, Bam Bam. And Seth, we've got a big old giant show. News breaking left and right, although when we're recording this, nothing's broken yet. But we'll talk about it as if it has as the show goes on. But what's happening? Welcome back, Seth Dog.
Yeah, right. I was trying. No, yeah, we were. I was trying to remember if I missed the last episode or not. Now I got it. It was a couple weeks ago, but always loving your introduction. You know, Neil DAWG. They used to break in the house. What's going on, Neil, dog?
It's funny because I couldn't remember if it was the last show or that, like, as I was saying that, I started to say after missing a show, it's like, man, you know what? I don't remember if he missed the last one or the one before that. Like, it's all blur. Once we're done recording it, it all goes away. Dude, I don't know.
Because it's football season, Neil, dog. Everything is a blur, man. Everything's a blur.
We could do a whole episode on my Raiders right now, but but let me just say I applaud them getting rid of that piece of garbage. Bye Chucky, bye forever. But it's not about me. I don't know when our National Beat Baseball Association became so much like the NBA from the standpoint, like I know, like when Demetrius Morrow was on, which is the show you missed, just don't remember what it was. But he and I were talking a little bit about how, like the NBA is almost like a 12-month story. Like as soon as the season's over, they have the draft, and right after the draft they have their free agency, and they draw that out over like a month, and then like a month later training camp's open. So it's like a whole year round thing with the NBA, and our league's becoming like that. Seth, players, I don't ever remember players being on the move the way they are this year in beat baseball.
As my Dallas Cowboys like to say, player acquisition is 12 months a year nowadays. It is 12 months a year every day. Everybody's always scouting, man. Everybody's trying to pick off people. It's a cutthroat league we live in now. I like the old days where we all played for our state teams or our regional teams and stuff like that, man. I don't get into all this free agency stuff,
In the end, I think some of the credit probably has to go to us now living in a social media world where so many of our players are on Facebook, and so many of them in a couple of groups, Beat Ball Nation and Beat Ball Central. If anybody's not in there, wants to look them up, that's where a lot of our talk goes on. But I don't think players, like you and I have talked about on this show, how we didn't know players as much about players back when we played as we do now, because we get to know them through the show and learn more about them and their teams and stuff. Like we didn't have that opportunity 20 years ago. We just saw each other at the World Series. You know what I mean? There wasn't, I think there's so much movement because people can reach out to each other so much easier now.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There's always a line to somebody knows somebody and all this and that. No, it's a lot closer of a league, at least connection wise, and communication as it goes. So,
well, a lot of that has centered so far this year around the Indy Edge, just landing like big land after big land, and it just got bigger. I'll say earlier today, even though it's still Thursday when we're recording this, but so I reached out to Nick Mulherin. Hey Nick, what's happening? Welcome back to the show.
Are you going to bring anybody in, or are you?
Are
you going to go on telling us about what you did?
Yeah, man. Right.
Why would you bring the guests in, man? Let the world know what's going on here, man.
Well, that's why I was going to tell the story by bringing him in. So, I reached out. I reached out to Nick. I was like, hey, we'd love to have you on the next show and talk about your, the great season that you had. But another person that we between us have talked about wanting to have on the show Justin Holland, who played with the Atlanta Chaos, but all kinds of, like I heard right from the get that, I should hold off for a minute because it's possible. Justin Holland, free agent, might sign a new contract. So I held off, and then it was announced not too long ago that the Indy Edge had signed Justin Holland. And so I asked Nick to bring him along. He did. So, hey, Justin, welcome to you. Welcome to the show for the first time.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a while. I've been listening for a little bit. So, I appreciate you guys reaching out to have me on.
I appreciate you getting, hooking up with Nick and coordinating all this. I look forward to having a great show with you. I want to get specifically with you. I want to get a little bit of background as we go on throughout the show because I
want to know how it feels to be the second biggest free agent signing of the year.
Oh,
I'm just joking. I mean, it was big news, and then it's like, whoa, we got bigger news. But no, I'm just messing around.
But I've had a tight connection with the Carolina leagues, even though they don't exist anymore. Go back like 30 years now. So I know you're from Carolina, so talk a little Carolina with you. But so we get Justin, we get Nick, and we got it all set up. I think it's Tuesday. Nick gets back to me, so we're all good. We're looking at times. And then late that night, my phone starts ringing, and it's Eric Rodriguez. I'm like, what's E-Rod? It was literally like 2 a.m. on the East Coast when he's called me. It's like, what's E-Rod doing? Call me in the middle of the night. And he's like, man, I got big news, and I'd like to make the announcement on your show. And his big news, we couldn't work it all out to get him in here with us. But his big news, it was dropped earlier on Friday by my man Demetrius Mara, dropping another demo bomb. Eric Rodriguez also will be joining the Indy Edge, leaving the Indy Thunder, following his brother out of town, Tyler Rodriguez. People didn't hear yet, now part of the Philadelphia Fire, and his brother now has flown the coop, still locally, gonna be an Indy man still. But he now is an Indy Edge. And guys, you finally get a chance to talk. Nick, man, we'll go with you first because you've been with the team longer, man. What's your reaction to bringing E-Rod onto your team?
I mean, I'll just say this. When I first started, our medium age was like 30s to 40s. And now we dropped it significantly. And it's just crazy to have, in my opinion, the best player in the league on my team that gets to teach me, like that's like I had Danny Fabiano, James Michaels, Lupe, Eric Mazriegos. I had all those legends.
Whoa. You put Eric at the end of those legends?
Hey.
Well, I love Danny, I love Lupe, but Eric gets the first.
No, those
but Nick's only been around since 2018. He doesn't know the real E-Dog.
That's true. My
he knows
bad.
injured groin E-Dog. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No, I had all of them teaching me when I first came into the league, and then unfortunately they left, but I'm excited to have this journey and share this journey with the younger Eric Rodriguez.
Just knowing Eric like I do, like when you talk about him sharing, like being able to learn from him and stuff, like he's so about all that. Like, I mean, he's, in my opinion, and many others, the best all-around player in the game right now. But like he's a humble dude. He cares about his teammates. He cares about the game. So I think he's gonna give you all that. Justin, man, that was a big signing with the Edge announcing that they brought you in. You a little pissed off this guy E-Rod just came and stole your thunder already?
It ain't about that. I mean, for me, it definitely, when I got a text from Nick, informing me the news, I had to listen to that twice. I was like,
I read that right?
Yeah. So no, I mean, I think it's obviously it's just a huge addition to the Edge and our team. We already, I was already looking forward to next season and having a solid team. And then we get the news that literally the number one player in the league's going to be coming off of the championship team and coming over to us. That's big. So I'm excited, man. Like you said, he's a dominant player on offense and defense, and it's only going to be a good addition to the team.
Does this mean we can stick a fork in the Thunder? We can put is the edge on the Beat Ball Blues show right now in October telling the nation that we can stick a fork in the Thunder? That's what I want to know. That's my breaking news. Can we stick a fork in the Thunder? Tell me.
I don't go into any season planning on losing, so we'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I'm not gonna hold it against them. I mean, they still got both the White brothers, and they have. Hopefully, Bueller gets to play next year. So I mean, those are 3 elite players. So I won't hold it against them. I'd love to play against them in the championship, having Indy versus Indy, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, until somebody beats them, they're still the defending champs, and though those are 2 big losses in my opinion. But something I pointed out like last summer at some point is that they've for a while now had like what I consider to be 9 really well-rounded players. And when they have like 6 or 7 of them, they do well. They've rarely lost with when they have at least like 7 of those 9 players. I mean, they were missing Bueller and Tyler last year, and they were able to win it. So it would be unfair to put a fork in it, but that's a big hit, no matter how, because now they don't have that. Excuse me, they don't have that flexibility as much as they did, where they could miss 1 or 2 players and still be all right. Yeah, like they're losing that, in my opinion. That I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Help me, professor. They're losing that little like extra, whatever slack. That I don't know. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean they've had like you said, they've had 10, 12 solid players deep, and now you're taking a couple of them away. I mean, but you still, like you said, you definitely can't just I mean, they're still the Thunder.
Somebody's got to beat them first, and they still have the best pitcher.
I was about to say they still have Jared. I mean, and all these other players. I mean, it's they're still going to be a team to beat, and they're probably still going to be a Saturday team. So
with your team, making kind of a basketball analogy, when a team loads up on all-stars, that one question that's always asked in basketball, man, is there enough ball around to keep everybody happy? And on defense, like each of you made the all-star team at like 5.25, and Erod was the defensive MVP at almost 8. I want to say he's like 7.8 something, which is like 18 point something. Like there's not that many balls to go around for all of you guys. How do you guys feel like that's going to settle with everybody? You think you guys can find enough action to keep everybody happy?
Nick, you want to go?
Personally, I think, yeah. I mean, Justin, just from that one time getting to play with him in the scrimmage this past weekend, he was nothing more than just a team player, a great person to be around. And like from the first time I played up front with him, it seemed natural.
Oh, cool.
And then obviously, like you mentioned earlier, Eric's more than willing to help anybody else around him. And then we have players like Mark Morris, Aaron C., Joel, and a whole bunch of other people that are more than willing to share the load. And honestly, I'm okay with taking a step back and letting them do all the work. I mean, a win's a win. I don't care how it's done. I'll take the back seat if that's what needs to be done. But I'm just happy that I have more people around me that I can rely on, and I know that have my back on both sides of the field.
Seth and I know exactly what you're talking about. Like at the end of all big games, we're like, hit it to Eric. You know, we played with Eric in his heyday. You know, when he was winning MVPs on offense and defense in the same tournament. So you know, so when Seth started it, we had a saying, hit it to E. So you guys
might
can
have
just
to borrow
pick up
that from
right
you.
there. Yeah, exactly right.
or when they would say, "Who wants it?" Eric wants it.
Yeah.
Give it to Eric, man. That's who we want to have the ball. But it is tough. It is tough. Now you guys are the. I mean, people will always say, you know, we give that nonsense. Oh, the Thunder. Everybody wants to pick against the Thunder, right? So you guys will now be the favorite going into it. You know, and hopefully you guys will play well and stuff like that. Everybody will again be trying to find somebody to pick against. I mean, how do you guys feel as a team? You are kind of like built to kind of handle all that pressure, you know, when things start going bad, when things get tough, you know, the expectations, you know, are sometimes hard to manage in these sports or whatever. You guys do your personalities, I guess, on the team mesh well enough where it doesn't matter what comes from the outside. You guys are a rock solid group and you're just going to roll through everything. Or,
I mean, you know, on it, obviously I'm still new to the team, so I haven't really even got to go out there. I've played in that one scrimmage game and we only had like an hour, so it was very rushed. But like Nick mentioned, you know, me and him felt pretty solid up front, and when Mark behind us as well, you know, felt really good. And just touching a little bit on the previous, you know, about having, you know, 3 of the top 6 defenders in the last World Series. To me, all that says is, you know, let's put everybody in the field where they're going to be the strongest, and all that means is, hey, we're going to have an even stronger defense. In my opinion, you know, I don't think there's going to be any problems as far as, you know, like you said, any of us trying to worry about, you know, taking balls or, you know, anything like that. Because to me, you know, let's put us where we need to be in the field, and that's going to give us a better chance at winning a championship. And as far as pressure, you know, for me, yeah, I mean, I try to just usually ignore what other people say from the outside. And honestly, if I do listen to it, it's more of a motivation thing. It just gives me more of a reason to work harder and go out there and just do my best playing in the field. So it's gonna be interesting the more I get to play with these guys and you know, see how they are and see the chemistry that we do have on the field. So
the reality is one of the things that made the Thunder so dominant over the last 6 years, 5 years, whatever, is that they've had people that could both make plays at all 6 positions, and they've had 6 spots in the lineup that could score runs at any point in time. They didn't have any bottom of the lineup. The people hitting 5th and 6th for them could have been hitting, you know, 2nd and 3rd on other teams. So that's, you know, yeah, you know, you guys are going to have to divide where you play up on defense and stuff, but the opportunity to have 2-way players at every position, you know, each of you, Eric, Ja'Cory, Wiley, you know, another great 2-way player, Mark Morris, good 2-way player. You know, you guys are loading up on doing kind of the same thing that helped the Thunder, you know, have the success they have. And looking at your lineup, and I didn't even mention Aaron C. Like the bats you guys have now. I mean, Aaron C. and you, Justin, have been, you know, knocking home runs. Yeah, Nick's MVP, was an MVP on offense the first year he ever played, and made the offensive all-star team every year since then. Made both sides. So, man, you guys are putting together a heck of an offensive lineup, man. I guess there's no question in that. So
I mean, I can just agree with you on the fact that, you know, it like you said, the Thunder has that, you know, all 6 is gonna, you know, the ball's gonna be put out and play, and there's a high chance that you're gonna be scoring all the way through the lineup.
No, it's impressive. It's impressive. It'll be fun to follow. Well, let's talk about you guys individually a little bit. Um, let's start out with you, Nick. I I was surprised, I'll be honest, because I've just been following you more like as the DH for the Edge. I wasn't surprised to see you getting out on the field more. I believed you to be an athlete, and I figured the longer you were around the game, the more you were gonna, be showing yourself on defense. But to move into the shortstop area as quickly as you did, and then go have an all-star type season, not even type, to go make the all-tourney team playing up there your first time. Talk about your transition, Nick, how you made it up there so quickly.
Well, thankfully I had the help of Eric Rodriguez, because one thing, I put this out in the nation one time, but the number one thing I've done is used my resources, because I mean, I can't do this by myself. This game is a very difficult game to be good at, especially on defense. So I reached out to Danny Fapiano, the Eric Mazriegos, the Eric Rodriguez's, and I even asked Mark Morris. I was like, so how would you guys do this? Like, where can I learn? Is there techniques I could pick up? And thankfully, I just was able to reach out to them, and they all got back with me and gave me, excuse me, tips and drills to do to help me get better. And then luckily Kyle lives so close to me, I was able to get that practice as much as I needed.
Oh, does Kyle Kennedy take you out and like hit balls to you and stuff?
Yeah, him and I, before I moved for school, lived probably 3 minutes away from each other.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the first time you were on the show, you were over at their house joining us. So I like had the belief from that you and Kyle have a pretty good friendship. I know. Go ahead.
We're like brothers, pretty much. So I've known him for like early high school.
I know from talking to Eric too that the two of you have developed a pretty good friendship. He was pretty jazzed up about getting to play with you. He said you guys were talking about working out together and stuff.
Yes, honestly, Eric was probably one of the first people on the Thunder to contact me and reach out to me and give me words of wisdom whenever I first played, because the first game I ever played was against the Thunder in a scrimmage. So I had to deal with the beast head on right away. So him and I have really grown closer throughout the past since 2018. And yeah, like you mentioned, me and him start training together this off season.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, Justin, with you. So look, you were getting my attention, knocking these home runs. Man, not just mine, but the beat ball world's attention, knocking these home runs. But I gotta give my boy Seth here credit. He played with the Heat for over 10 years. So when you played with the Heat in Chicago this summer, he was tuning into those games, and even though I was still talking about your big bat, he's like, man, this dude was out there scooping up balls. So even before you went and made the defensive all-star team at the World Series, Seth was on you being a two-way player. Talk about like your game. Like, where did you first get into beat baseball? Give us your background a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, I started playing in 2018 that was my first year, and
Okay.
I played with Athens. But really, the way it got started is someone, like I live like right outside of Charlotte in North Carolina, in a small town, and one of a guy that my dad knew, he knew that I went blind, so he's like, you need to look up this beat baseball thing. And I played baseball when I was younger, and so of course I was interested right away. So we looked it up. I was like, well, I'm gonna just try to get one of these balls and play around with it and see what it's like, try to hit with it and stuff like that. And then we reached out to Roger Keeney in Athens, and it was literally the next day I was getting a call from Roger. And the rest is really history. I mean, that's obviously been the biggest challenge, that they were the closest team for us, and that's like a 3.5 hour drive. So yeah, I mean, that was the the biggest struggle, but that's where we got, I got started, and yeah, I mean, it was just a bug once I started playing. I loved it. So, as far as defense, I would definitely say defense has been the thing since then that I've improved upon the most, and as far as my game goes, just because I remember the first couple practices, me and my dad, my stepmom, we'd get in the truck and we'd be like, these, they're diving on the ground for these balls, like laying out like on the ground. I come from baseball where you square up on a ball, and I'm like, why are they laying on the ground to try to get the ball? And then obviously not long after that, I was like, okay, so your body's basically the glove. So yeah, I mean, defense was the hardest thing for me to learn, and over the past couple of years, just from practice and just putting in reps, and like Nick said, last year the Thunder came down to Atlanta. We kind of had like a little training camp, and Kyle Lewis was there, and I can't remember if Eric was there or not, but they just kind of gave us some words of wisdom on little tips that you can do in the field, little things that you can do to try to keep the ball in front of you and stuff like that. And it's just constantly something that I'm working on, trying to get better with defense. And, obviously playing with some of these more experienced guys, that's going to just help me, more to get better. So
two quick things.
How old are you, real quick? How old are you?
I turned 26 last month.
Along those lines, did you lose your sight then more recently?
Yeah, I was 20, so about 6 years ago.
All right.
Yeah.
And baseball was the only sport you played previous to that, or have you done other blind sports since then, or is it just beat ball and baseball?
Yeah, no. So growing up, I played just about. I played baseball, a little bit of football, basketball. Those were kind of my main things. I played soccer one year in high school. That was I had no clue what I was doing, but it was fun. It was fun. I was a really small kid back then. I was the kid that was smaller than everybody else. So I just went out and tried to slide tackle people. So, but yeah, that was basically. And then actually, a funny story, in high school, I got cut on the baseball team my freshman year, and so I didn't even play in high school. I played tennis.
Oh, really?
But other than that, blind sports, there's not much. There's not too much around here. I'm trying to get more involved and do some other things. I'd love to try out goal ball, but beat ball's been it.
You hit 3 homers this year. Do you just have a really dialed in swing, or are you a bigger guy now?
No, I'm definitely. I started working out in high school, so I'm definitely a lot compared to where in high school. I'm definitely bigger. And
I'm not the freshman who got cut.
Yeah, no, I started working out, and I think that really did help me, because growing up being being that type of kid, it really helped teach me that if you surround yourself with better people, it's only going to make you better, right? So that's kind of a thing that I've had experience and learned from growing up. But I feel like my swing's pretty consistent and solid. I get mixed. A lot of people tell me it's a golf swing, and some people tell me it's good. So, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's pretty solid. And yeah, I hit 2 this year, and my first home run I've got with beat ball was actually in 2019 in the World Series with Athens.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
Well, Seth will tell you that the golf swing is good. He at the age of 16, 17, I guess, was nicknamed Bam Bam because of his golf swing, and he ended up hitting the very first beat baseball home run ever in 1990 when the line was at 180 feet, just to be clear.
Man's line, Neil Dog, a man's line.
Yeah.
Not any of that training wheel stuff they do now.
None of your gender typing either. Grown-up line. It's a grown-up line.
Hey, but my golf swing did not do well with the strikeouts. So I had to abandon my golf swing. I didn't get all that love you got. So what is like do you consistently hit? I mean, what is your bat? You know what I'm saying? I always struggled with my golf swing. I got struck out by virtually every pitcher that ever pitched to me until Fonzie started to hit me. How does that work with you? Especially now being able to work with pitchers all the time. Is it easy for them to pick up? I mean, that's, I guess, in the
Yeah,
end.
is that what you were saying when you say some say it's good, some whatever is?
Yeah.
Do you get pushback on having a golf swing?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't even like the the term golf swing because in my opinion, I hit off a tee here at home, and so I know where I swing. I know where I swing. I don't know how it looks, but I know how I swing, and yeah. So it's to me, it's kind of like
obviously you have a good uppercut, or they wouldn't be calling it a golf swing, but it's really just a good uppercut.
Yeah, I would say it's like a low strike zone, and for baseball. But no, that's definitely been with the first 2 years that I played, 18 and 19. I played with Athens, and obviously I had that challenge of not being able to go to practice all the time and have that consistency with the pitcher. But even those 2 years, it was the first year, both years of the pitcher. They were graduate students at the college, so they were fresh to the game, and so was I. I mean, I still done pretty well. And then coming in, I've done a lot better with Tez this past year. When me and him would get on, we'd tournaments, we'd bat around 600 to 650 on one of our good tournaments, but it was definitely a little bit of a challenge because not everybody swings that low swing. So a lot of people swing waist and above. So when you got someone like that coming in, and then I'm coming up in the lineup either after him or a couple after him, it's kind of a change for the pitcher. So I can understand where that can make it challenging for the pitcher, but I got that experience hitting off Fonzie, and it took me, I think we got about 5 to 10 pitches before, it's like, it's time to play. But once I got my timing down with Fonzie, I mean, we were there. I mean, it took me a second to get the timing down, but yeah, we were doing really well. And just this past weekend, going down and hitting off of Kyle for the first time, it was man, we connected really well. I mean, in the scrimmage, I had 4 at bats, and we only had 3 strikes too, so the time restraint, and we put it in play every single time. And
nice.
Two of the errors were me running to the base. One, I slipped and fell, and one, I actually hit a dead ball, and Eric scooped it up. I didn't even really run. I heard it died, and I just But no, it makes a big difference when you have that pitcher that's consistently putting it there.
And I got to say, for Fonzie, right, I came to the Heat with the line drive swing, and Fonzie's like, man, I need a golf swing, man.
Yeah.
Fonzie loves the golf swing. So it's never a problem for Fonzo.
Not absolutely. I mean, like I said, I hit, two homers this year, and one was in the Indy tournament with Tez, and then that next week I played with the Heat, and that last game, me and Fonzie connected, and we had a couple that were really good hits, but we connected on one, and it made it out. So yeah, he's solid, and his pitch is really good for those golf swings.
Yeah.
So Nick, I asked you before we started, check to make sure that you'd played in the scrimmage before I asked about. I didn't even consider that your new teammate came all the way out here for that. For one, that's impressive. But talk about the two of you guys playing. So were you both playing up front?
Yeah, we were both playing up front. Yeah.
So talk about how the scrimmage went.
It didn't go as planned in the out, like score wise, but I think we learned a lot, Justin and I, just playing for that short hour. Because I mean, I don't know about him, but like I mentioned earlier, it felt like we played several years together, just the way he was communicating with me and I was communicating with him. And the way he was moving around the field, it just felt natural, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know, and Kyle and I were talking about this earlier today. Justin and I were the only ones that hit every single time we were up to bat, even though we only had those 3 strikes. And I mean, Kyle and I have a chemistry because we live so close, but the fact that Justin was able to do that and he's only hit off of Kyle for a couple of days is amazing.
No, that's obviously a good sign. I mean, whenever you bring a new player into your team, you want that player and your pitcher to to build some chemistry together and have a good groove together. What if you said it earlier? I didn't hear. How come you guys were limited to an hour as far as the playing time?
That's a great question. If I had to be real, I lost and showed up late, so I kind of just jumped in as fast as I could. But I think they had something going on after we did.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a kickball tournament.
Oh, out at the field. I got
Yeah, we
you.
played on like we played in the corner of a baseball field. So we kind of we made it through a whole game, but it felt really rushed, and like we only had the 3 strikes, and but yeah, I mean I feel like it went pretty good, and like Nick said, for me in the field, I don't like to talk too crazy too much when the ball's being hit out, just because then you're listening to a ball and a guy talking. And I like to be able to be in the field next to someone, and it's like they're there, and you can almost have like sense that they're there getting the ball, so when to kind of hold back and stuff like that. So
That's funny. I don't know if you thought it too, Seth, but I was thinking, like, I know that both sides of that one. Like, I felt like when Eric and I played up front together, Eric Mazriegos obviously played up front together for so long, we had that. But also, I think Seth would tell you I talked too much on the field. You probably wouldn't have liked me. I was the very front line, and I talked to everybody, predicted where I thought the ball was going.
Oh no. Now before the play, I'm talking
about during the play.
Oh,
Once the ball was by me, I called myself an air traffic controller. I let all the planes know what was going on with the ball, whether they liked it or not. So I probably would have driven you.
But that was a good role. I mean, that's a good thing about having that front plate person in that point defense, that they can do that. So you didn't talk too much, Neil Dog. We
thank you, Seth Dog. I would have thought you were going to go the other way. So the scrimmage game itself, I think it's cool. We mentioned it a little bit last week, and I had Leah Michaels on last year talking about the Hitters and Heroes tournament, which had to be canceled, unfortunately, this year. But you guys still did the scrimmage game with the Indy Thunder, and am I right calling it the Give Back game? Is that the actual title of it? If you don't argue with me, it'll make me feel right. We'll call it the Give Back game.
I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, I think also that's what it was called. Last week, I think I was calling it the Game of Giving, but I went back and reread it. I'm pretty sure it's the Give Back game. So you both teams joined in there. The game was played to benefit both a homeless shelter and a domestic abuse shelter. I know, like, there were clothes collected. Each team gave a donation to the shelter. So, I mean, props to your team and the Indy Thunder for going out and doing that. It's probably pretty cool, Nick, being part of a team that your team seems to be very active and doing stuff for the community. Do you guys like being part of that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first I'd like to thank Booker for allowing us to play and setting up the fields for us. But yeah, it's
giving you time to recruit his player, huh?
Oh,
I'm just joking. I kid because I care. Go ahead.
But no, it's a great feeling to be able to give back. And something I'd like to do for this next year is to go out and work with other teams, because I know I think his name's Jeffrey Rhines, Justin Rhines' dad.
Yeah, Justin Rhines. Oh, okay, his dad. Okay.
Yeah, he mentioned us possibly linking up and doing like something like how the Thunder do, where they go out and just kind of scrimmage and work together. So I'd like to go out and interact with other teams next year too, and broaden out.
Yeah, giving back, man. I think I love that. Gotta love that. Well, I don't have anything else for the two of you, Seth.
No,
You-
I mean, you know.
we could always find stuff to yammer on
about
but-
the future and all this and that. There's a whole bunch of things we can go on for. But we are at like our 45-minute time and all that good stuff. And I got practice coming up, so I'm good. I'm
That's
good.
all right.
I've basked in the glory of greatness long enough, Neil Dog. Hopefully the glow will last until I get to my little Blue Devils and I can share some of the glory that Justin and Nick and the greatness they brought to me. I can share with the little kids. So.
I'm going to start with you guys, and this is really kind of a poll question for, and I'll understand if Justin, Nick, excuse me, if the two of you want to abstain, but I'll put a little poll question out to both Beatball Nation and Beatball Central and anybody that follows the show. So everybody's heard of the Beatles. And they're whether you like the Beatles or not, you know who the Beatles are. They're an iconic band. They, they're every album they put out went platinum, sold millions of copies. And while they were on top of their tidal wave, they ended up breaking up. And over time, the one person that seems to take the majority of the brunt for them breaking up is Yoko Ono. Because she and John Lennon got married, and then she started showing up at their recording sessions and saying how they should do this, that, whatever, and eventually other members said enough already, and that was the end of the Beatles. Now, I don't know enough to know if that is accurate, true, whatever. I wasn't there, but that's the general kind of public perception. So my poll question, is Dave Benny the Yoko Ono of the Indy Thunder? And again, I mean, Seth, you should answer, but I'll accept you gentlemen taking a pass if you want. But is Dave Benny, and I don't really want to say his name anymore, like on the show. So going for, I had another nickname for him, Double L, since he already had the two letters, Little Lucifer. So I was going to go with double L, but as I thought about this question, Yoko's funnier.
Yoko, it's called Yoko. Man, no, yes, Yoko, it was a problem. I don't know about the real Yoko Ono, but again, never let truth get in the way of a good story.
Right.
But no, Dave Benny. Ever since Dave Benny, for what reason, Darnell Booker has fallen in love with Yoko Ono. I have no reason, but his team's fortune has taken a deep dive.
If nothing else, it's...
put a fork in a meal, dog. Put a fork in it.
So I guess only history will tell, but that's my poll question is Dave.
And fellas from the edge, would you guys like to
No, I'm gonna take a hard.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I'm definitely not discounting the Thunder. So I mean, they're still on the top team on my radar.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah, now
politicians.
Yeah, but
funny though, that's what I was saying earlier. Now I'm here putting this poll out. Two sides of Neil though.
Booker's he's got a good organization that he's doing, and obviously it shows from the past, defending champs. But I'll beat around the bush and just say, I don't really get involved in anything like that. So I just, like I said, I like to just kind of just stay back, and when it's time to play, go out there and play. So
you're a good man, Justin. Oh, you're a good man. Justin, I had a good time meeting you, man. Thanks again for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Hope to have you back on somewhere down the road. Nick, it was great having you on again. You really helped pull this all together, and the back and forth and the time changing and the possibilities of this, that, the other. You're very patient with me. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys having us on.
Absolutely. Be looking forward to following it. Good luck to you guys. Everybody else, be well, be safe, be smart.
Hold on.
What up?
Happy belated birthday to Aunt Cindy. Her birthday was yesterday. So,
all
it'll be
right.
several days now come Sunday. But I didn't want you to sign off without us, acknowledging that she has made another trip around the sun. Yeah.
Is she finally old enough for me to do some flirting with? She like 25, 30, somewhere around out there.
I don't know if it works like that because you continue to get older as well. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good point. All right. Well, that's awesome. Happy birthday to you, Aunt Cindy. We love you. All right, everybody else be well, and we will catch you next week. Thank you, Frank Porter. Thank you, Seth Dog. And good night, Aunt Birthday Cindy.